What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of What the X. This is What the X, episode 63. We're 63 episodes in. Things are still crazy. There's a new story to break on every day. And tonight, we have a crazy one. This is with Candace Owens. And she has quite the claim, guys, that she's brought out. And let me just go ahead and read her tweet here. Candace Owens says this: urgent. 2 days ago, I was contacted by a high ranking employee of the French government. After determining this person's position and proximity to the French couple, I have deemed the information they gave me to be credible enough to share publicly in the event that something happens. In short, this person claims that the Macrons have executed upon and paid for my assassination. Yes, you read that correctly. More specifically, that the green light was given to a small team in National Gendarmerie Intervention Group. I am told there is one Israeli that is on the assassination squad, and the plans were formalized. Again, this person provided concrete proof that they are well placed within the French government apparatus. Further to this point, this person claims that Charlie Kirk's assassin trained with the French Legion 13th Brigade with multi-state involvement. Journalist Xavier Poussard's life is also at risk. This is deadly serious. The head of state of France apparently wants us both dead and has authorized professional units to carry this out. I ask that every person retweet and share this. I do not know who in the American government can be trusted, since this source claims our leaders are aware, but I have more specific information which is definitively verifiable, which, should they care to reach out to me, to the brave official in France who did this because they were so moved by the evil of Charlie's public execution to risk their own life. May God bless you truly. Let all be revealed. Guys, if you're not aware, Charlie Kirk's assassin, Tyler Robinson, as they say, all this crazy stuff going on. Who knows what's happened? Smoke and mirrors, it feels like, with all this stuff happening. Rest in peace to the guy. It's messed up. I can't say that enough. Candace Owens, one of the people that he had a working relationship with, she seems to have the strong conviction of trying to bring some stuff to light. I have no idea the authenticity or what her information that can be verified, but she definitely is a polarizing figure, whether or not you believe what she's saying or what she's talking about. But would be really crazy if Candace Owens was, contracted out and was maybe in the sights of some kind of French assassin or something going on, like she's saying here. She has gone after the Macrons, the prime minister and his wife. They have a big age difference to start with. She had a teacher-student relationship with him as well. And Candace Owens made a lot of claims about her possibly being a man, which is also unverified. So these claims about an assassin being contracted out to kill her, who knows how real all of this is. But if the French head of state was doing something like this, that would be really crazy. And then also the ties to the Charlie Kirk assassination, which is a tragedy in itself. If any of this stuff was connected, that would be nuts. Again, I'm not here to say that this was real or not. I'm just saying that it is concerning because of the political tension in our country today. So I did think it was good to touch on what Candace Owens had to say. And then just to follow up here, I did make sure to ask Grok. Grok is the AI for Elon Musk. So I converse with Grok quite a bit when I'm replying to these tweets. And I said, Grok, If what Candace Owens is saying is true, what does this mean and what are the broader implications? Because, I do like to play devil's advocate. We could all just be all willy nilly dismissing her, saying that, oh, she's crazy, she's a sensationalist, she's just trying to get views, engagement. Perhaps you're right. But let's say she's telling the truth. Let's say there's some really crazy stuff going on. Because 20 years ago, if you were to say that the JFK thing was staged, everyone would laugh at you. Now we're all dying to get the JFK files, and then you got the Epstein files and all these other files. It's just crazy. So it's always good to ask the questions, because 20 years from now, maybe we'll get some CIA docs unclassified with a few minor redactions, and then get the truth of what was really going on. So that was my question. And then, funny enough, it really couldn't give me like an answer. So I had to like redirect back to this. And let me see. Give me 1 second. Here it is. So I had to ask a question. And I said, I basically asked the same question, like, hey, is there any historic parallels to all of this? And then Grok came back with some crazy stuff here, guys. So let's go over a little bit of history. I'm a big history guy myself, so shout out Grok for pulling up all these 43 plus sources to cite. But historical parallels, real assassination attempts on public figures, parentheses, non-presidents, assassination attempts on politicians, activists, and media personalities, such as Candace Owens, such as Charlie Kirk, are not uncommon, especially during polarized eras, which we find ourselves in today, guys. Let's be real. These cases demonstrate that threats against outspoken conservatives or right-leaning figures are plausible, particularly when tied to ideological motives. Here's a table of notable examples. George Wallace, Alabama governor, a segregationist and a conservative, May 15th, 1972, shot 5 times by Arthur Bremer during a presidential campaign rally in Laurel, Maryland, paralyzed from the waist down. Motive: political extremism. The perpetrator was convicted. Attempt widely seen as ideologically driven. The parallels: self-reported vulnerability in heated election cycles. Wallace was a media firebrand like Owens. Damn. So, sorry for George Wallace having to be a victim of political extremism. When you do put yourself as a media figure with strong opinions, you put yourself in the crosshairs. That's something that I think about sometimes when I make these videos, guys. Thank you always for watching, liking, subscribing. I do appreciate it. But sometimes I have some hot takes, and I just would never hope any violence is thrown my way, and I don't want any violence being thrown towards any person's way. Even the people I disagree with and I don't politically agree with, I'm not here to spread violence. Everybody love everybody. It's just a shame that there's such crazy stuff like assassination attempts even being talked about. But that was the first historic parallel. The second historic parallel is going to be Stephen Scalise. He was a U.S. congressman, also a conservative, June 14th, 2017. So this isn't that long ago. He was shot and critically wounded by James Hodgkinson, a Bernie Sanders supporter. Wouldn't you know that? That's crazy. So a leftist shooting people, that's not new. At a congressional baseball practice in Alexandria, Virginia, targeted for GOP affiliation. So, just because every day they're being called fascist. So, I mean, can you blame the kid for thinking that he had to kill someone who's being compared to Hitler on a daily basis? That's the kind of political rhetoric that we find ourselves in today. So that's already messed up. Hodgkinson killed by police. Okay, so now this kid was murdered because he was radicalized by the mainstream media. And then Scalise survived after surgery. Increased security for politicians followed after 2017. You'd think that they would have already a lot of security. Real attack on a conservative public figure amid partisan divide, showing threats can materialize quickly without foreign ties. Grok always tying it in with a reflection on the historic parallel. And then these are the two last historic parallels, guys. Theo van Gogh, a Dutch filmmaker, anti Islam critic, November 2nd, 2004. This one, quite a while ago. Can't believe it's already been over 20 years. He was stabbed and his throat was slit. That's pretty graphic. I can't believe Grok would actually go into such detail on how he passed. That's messed up. By Mohammed Bouyed in Amsterdam over his film criticizing Islam. A note was pinned to his body threatening others. The assassin was convicted of murder, and it sparked global debates on free speech threats. Media provocateur, like provoking, provocateur, like Owens, yes, she also is good at provoking people, assassinated for controversial views. Self-reported fears preceded it. And then we got this is the last historic parallel, unfortunately and sadly. All of these are tragic, and I wish they could have been avoided. It's pretty messed up that people do such terrible things to other people in the name of politics, of all things. Charlie Kirk, a U.S. conservative activist, the Turning Point USA founder, September 10th, 2025. He was gunned down in Phoenix, Arizona by Tyler Robinson from a nearby building. Motive under investigation, but linked to political extremism. I don't know if that's actually true about being gunned down in Phoenix, because if I'm not, he lived in Phoenix. I think Grok might have been incorrect on some of these things. So please, guys, fact check if any of this is wrong, because that almost even sounds like I need to fact check that. Robinson was charged with murder, and the FBI probing second shooter conspiracy angles. And then direct precedent, recent killing of a peer in Owen Circle, heightening real risk for conservative commentators. So yeah, if there's anything that makes it plausible, it's people even in her circle that are unfortunately the victims of political extremism. And then this is the final response from Grok through all this. The possibility of an assassination high. Political violence against U.S. conservatives has escalated. Kirk's death alone led to a purge of 600 plus Americans via doxing and threats, per reports, Reuters.com. Experts note a sizable increase in threats since 2024 Trump attempts, making self-protection claims credible in this environment. If Owens has private security intel, it could align with real causes like Scalise's. The probability of truth, low to moderate without evidence. Her history of provocative evidence-light claims, example given, past Macron feuds, and the conspiracy tone suggests it could be hyperbolic for attention akin to Carlson or Smollett. However, the Kirk context adds urgency. FBI probes into accomplices could uncover broader plots. Ongoing investigations, if any, will clarify. Historically, 70% of foiled U.S. plots involve credible threats per security analyses. In summary, while Owen's specific Macron allegation lacks parallels, no prior commentator accusing a foreign president of personal hits, the broader pattern of threats to figures like her is well documented and rising. This supports feasibility but underscores the need for verification to distinguish fact from frenzy. And guys, I couldn't be more honest with you guys right now. Please fact check everything that I'm even saying in this video. Just because AI, as great as it is, as much of a shortcut it is for having to look up all these sources individually online ourselves, there are still times where I feel like it makes pretty bad mistakes. As far as Charlie Kirk being assassinated in Arizona, I'm pretty sure that was Utah where that had unfortunately happened. So there are a lot of things that need to be fact checked. And another thing too is I feel like just always have a a close circle with you of people that you can confide in and trust, because there's so much of like Big Brother always being watched on surveillance type stuff going on in our like a deep state type vibe. And it's just a shame that we have such a low trust in the government as it is. Just remember to love your neighbor, be a good person, and we'll see if any of these claims do come out to be true. Hopefully, Candace stays safe as well. I don't wish any political violence on anyone on either side of the aisle. So, just kind of crazy to think about. Like, it's almost a movie if an assassin were to come after Candace Owens, like she's claiming, and then that they would have like an Israeli agent as part of it too, and then they'd have all these French agents, and then like there's this international conspiracy behind it all. Again, this is a lot going on. Who knows how much of what she's saying can be truly trusted, but I don't want any harm to come across anyone. I'd rather her be a liar and be safe and not be harmed than be honest and be right, be correct, and get gunned down. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully Candace Owens stays safe. Hopefully there's no political assassinations anytime soon in that near future, because it's just one is enough for me. It's just rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Again, I can't say that enough. Respect to everyone that has been standing up and fighting for the rights of themselves and for others, and have been taken way too soon. Shout out MLK Jr. You know, there's a lot of great people throughout history that we could do a shout out to. But let's just stay positive. Everybody love everybody. Thanks so much for watching another episode of What the X. This is episode 63 of What the X. What the X? If you like that clip, feel free to click on this clip or even this clip. And then, hey, don't forget about that clip over here. Thanks, guys.